Alright, 7th graders, today we tackle lesson 3, which is solving for unknown angles using equations. So our aim for today, how do we solve for unknown angles in word problems and diagrams involving all the learned angle relationships we've covered so far. So example 1, we're going to set up and solve an equation to find the value of x. Now in our previous lessons, we looked for a couple different angle relationships to help us out, to start us off. We always try to look for vertical angles, which were those bow tie angles we talked about when they're opposite each other. Well, if I look at this diagram here, I do not really see any vertical angles, so that relationship is out. Another angle relationship we talked about was complementary. Okay, well, we see a 90-degree angle, so that's part of a complementary angle. But in order to make a real complementary angle, that 90 has to be split into two different angles, and it's just one whole angle there. So that's not going to help us either. So it's not complementary. Our third relationship we talked about was supplementary, such as S. So we would look for a straight line. Well, I don't really see any angles on a straight line here either. So when all else fails, let's make a circle. Okay. Well, you should know how many degrees in a circle. There are 360 degrees. And there are three different angles, three different chunks in this circle. We've got this guy right here. We know he's 90 degrees because of that box. We have another chunk here, and that's already labeled for us. That's 123 degrees. And then here's our last chunk of that 360. And that's the part we don't know. We want to find the blue. Well, let's just set up an equation as we always do. First of all, we're going to need an equal sign. In this case, we know if we add up all the angles together, it's going to give us 360. And again, we know that this box angle, that gives us 90 degrees. So we know a chunk of that 360 will be 90. We know, and I'm putting the addition sign there because we know we have to add up all the angles. We know this chunk right here was 123. Last but not least, and we're trying to find x. Well, if we add them all up, in theory, it should give us 360 degrees. Well, let's do that. Well, we start to put shapes around and combine like terms. These guys are similar. When we add those up, we get 213 degrees. Bring down our x, bring down our equal sign, bring down 360 degrees. Now I'm running out of little space here, so let's see here. That 213 and x are combined by addition, so we will do the opposite. We will subtract 213 from both sides. Now obviously I want you to continue right under it, but I'll put my answer on the side here. X equals 147 degrees. Alright, so when you add those three angles together, in theory, you get 360, and that's not theory anymore, that's just straight fact. Move on to the next slide. So if you need more time, now's not to hit the pause button because I'm going bye-bye. Okay, so example 2. It says 4 rays meet at the common vertex. We're going to describe angle relationships as always, and we'll set up and solve an equation to find the value of x. And we want two different angles here. We want BAC, and then we want DAE. So we're looking for those two angles there. So we know when we find the value of x, we got to plug it back in at the end. And as always, we should be looking at our angle relationship chart that we made on the first lesson all the way back. We start with vertical angles. Do we see anything opposite here? I hope you said no. I don't see them either. Next, we can look for complementary. Again, we see the box there. That means 90 degrees, so we're close to complementary. But a complementary angle means more than one angle equaling 90. Well, this 90-degree angle is not split into two, so complementary is not going to help us here. Third angle relationship, supplementary. Again, I don't see straight lines or multiple angles on a straight line, so we have to go with our good old faithful, make a big circle. When all else fails, make a circle, because we know that they always will equal 360 degrees. I'm going to move that over a little bit. Right backwards, I like that. Okay, so, well, we know there's different chunks here. We know that this big chunk is 204 degrees, so we'll write that. Now we have to add up all the angles inside that circle. Well, we know this chunk here, that's 5x, so I'll write 5x. We know this chunk, even though there's no number there, there is a number. It's the box, and the box means 90 degrees. Very good. Hopefully you said that. And last but not least, we have this tiny sliver of a chunk, and that was x. And, well, this stuff is old stuff. We did this earlier in the year. Let's start throwing our shapes around. Well, we have a positive 5x and a positive x. When we combine those, I hope you got not 5x, 6x. We also have a positive 90 and a positive 204. And when we combine those, we get 294. Bring down our equal sign, we'll bring down 360. And this is a good old two-step equation. If you still struggle with two-step equations, I'll show you the reasoning right now and why they work. You list out the steps of what's happening to x. Well, the first thing that's happening to it is being multiplied by 6. And after you multiply it by 6, we'll add 294. And in order to solve for x, we have to do the opposite. Okay, so we go the opposite order and the opposite operation. Well, instead of adding 294, we will subtract 294. And that should give us real quick 66 degrees when we subtract those two numbers. So I'm going to check my math on that, tell me if I'm right tomorrow. I think I'm right. And then, well, these guys cancel out. That's all that's remaining is 6x. So we did the opposite of that guy. And have to do the opposite of the first step. Instead of multiplying by 6, we shall divide by 6. I think we did this correct. That means x has to equal 11 degrees. That's a smushed 11 right there. Okay, but if we look back at the original problem, it didn't ask us what x was. It asked for DAB at angle, and also angle BAC. Okay, well, let's find BAC first, that's just x. So angle BAC, in the diagram it's x degrees. Well, we know what x is now, so let's substitute in 11. Okay, well, that's easy, that's 11 degrees. Quickly, our last one here, angle DAE. Well, in the diagram it says 5x degrees, very sloppy. Again, hopefully you write a little bit better. Let's substitute in, instead of writing the x, bring down the 5, that's a constant. That's not changing. Our x was 11, so we plug in 11, parentheses mean to multiply, and we have 55 degrees for angle DAE. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. We shall see you tomorrow.